Hey Stefan, I wanted to respond to your video talking about your criticisms of the Zeitgeist movement in general, um, and I'm going to talk about some of your major principles and sort of where I come from. I agree with you that central planning hasn't worked in the past, uh, but I don't believe that's been. But I believe the reason why it has failed in the past is not because it's been based on planning, but because it's been based on government planning as opposed to a communal planning. Um, and I agree that you should be allowed to use money if you want. I believe in the non-aggression principle, so I believe that if you want to use money, if a society wants to use money, more power to them. I'm of the belief that anarchist communism is the ultimate stage, or at least nearly the ultimate stage of human development, but it's likely a long ways away. I also believe that anarchist capitalism, is a good bridge to anarchist communism because it allows individual communities to develop their own systems of economics. It creates sort of a breeding ground where the best system will ultimately emerge. In this age of technology, we should eventually be able to eliminate jobs due to technological advances, automation. Uh, Basically everything can be created, by robots or computers. I don't see why that's necessarily uh, hard to believe. Um, if jobs become unnecessary, money becomes irrelevant. In the same way, like there's no reason why people aren't trading seashells because a seashell-based economy is irrelevant. It's not necessary. It's not useful. I mean, there's a scarcity of seashells. I mean, you can say that seashells could be a currency, and that's true. They could be a currency, but they're not useful as a currency because nobody sees seashells um, as a valid means of trading goods. I do believe that the best way to allocate resources is to push for technological advances to make the jobs irrelevant and useless, which technically makes me an anarcho-communist. This can be done on a societal basis and not necessarily enforced worldwide. If people in Montreal want to create a job-based economy, an anarchist capitalist-based economy, more power to them. But with a free flow of information, they should be able to see the other opportunities associated with other forms of anarchism. There may be there may be parts of the world that may be like green anarchists or anarcho-feminists or whatever, but basically the idea is that allow people to create their own society, which I believe you would allow them to. And you wouldn't necessarily agree with the way that they do things, but allow them to do the things they want to do. I just happen to be of the belief that anarcho-communism is the final way to sort of manage a society. I hate to use the word manage because it's not really management. It's just people will come to a conclusion that money is sort of useless. It's a way to put an arbitrary value on a person or their abilities. I don't personally believe that there's such thing as good work and bad work. And when you have things that are when you have a monetary system, it sort of does put some work at a higher level than another form of work. Like a farmer may make more than a let's say a Starbucks employee. It's just that's the way it is in a capitalist system. No matter whether it's anarcho-capitalism or just state-controlled capitalism. And you and I may be wrong, uh, but I believe that anarcho-communism and anarcho-capitalism have a lot in common. The difference is that anarcho-communists believe that society can move beyond a property and currency-based economy, and anarcho-capitalists believe that those are universal rights, or I use the word rights too, but but anarcho-capitalists believe in property rights. I believe that anarcho-capitalism is the first step towards a free society. I don't think the world's necessarily ready for anarcho-communism as a whole, because if you're gonna move to that immediately, it does require some form of planning, which can inevitably lead to some state control of some kind, and I totally disagree with that idea. Um, like I said, anarcho-capitalism is the first step towards a free society, but anarcho-communism, I believe, will eventually supplant it when technological developments at a level when property is irrelevant and money is obsolete. Um, Thanks for hearing me out. You can see my other videos if you want. I talk about uh, sort of current events and anarchism in general. Um, I have a website at subvertgov.com that I update on occasion. Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I hope you see this, because I'm really a huge fan of yours. I've introduced a lot of my friends to your to Free Domain Radio, and almost everybody who I've introduced who I've introduced to Free Domain Radio has absolutely loved it. Thought it was thinks it's probably the best website, and really gets them thinking in a way that they typically aren't used to thinking. Um, my 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 friend he started off with your video on the story of your enslavement, which is one of the best made series of videos I think I've ever seen. Like I said, I really appreciate everything you do. I really enjoyed your debate on how much government is necessary, where you talked about government is basically a tumor. I thought that was a really good analogy, and I've used that analogy myself with discussions with people. I think you're doing a good thing for the world as a whole, and I really hope you continue along with it. Um, I hope to read your books in the future. I haven't yet, but I really hope to read them. I do uh, I do also like your concept of the dispute resolution organizations. I think that's a really good way to sort of replace government or replace police forces with a more just form. I mean, your discussion talking about, like, well, what would happen if your wife got killed, and you talked about, well, what's the government that we have right now going to do? And really, all they're going to do is they're just going to punish the person, but you're not getting, but you're just going to be out. You're going to be out of a loving family member, and they're not going to pay you money, to compensate your time or your grief or your or your children's future and how they've been affected. Well, I agree with you. Dispute resolution organizations are entirely a better system than police and prisons and government. Well, thanks anyway. I just wanted to say I really appreciate what you're doing. You're doing a good thing for the world, and people are tuning in and listening up. So, anyway, thanks. Bye.